Welcome back to Just the News, No Noise. This morning, we all woke up to the news at it bright and early at 6:52 a.m. on Just the News. The FBI raided the home of former National Security Advisor and Ambassador John Bolton in what officials say was part of a national security case, and with many speculating that it may have to do with classified information. So joining us now to discuss just what might be going on here is retired FBI Executive Assistant Director and the author of the book Wanted, the FBI I Once Knew, Chris Swecker. Chris, great to see you again.
Great to be with you and John, and thank you for the opportunity to contribute.
Yeah, we love it.
Yes, we do. I want to ask you about the reaction that I'm seeing from Democrats, because to me it's quite telling. It is the reaction and the messaging that this is politicized, that President Trump is exacting retribution. And I just keep thinking to myself, this is not the Biden administration. It's quite telling to me that that's what they think the motive is. Maybe it's because they were used to seeing something like that under the last administration.
Well, I think you're going to see a lot of that type of finger pointing in the political circus that we're in. What I see is that, Director Patel, under his authority, probably ordered a review of certain investigations and cases, and he wasn't satisfied with the either depth, scope, or quality of this investigation. And this investigation was pretty much closed and quashed by the Biden administration when they came into power. So I'm sure he went back, and I'm sure there are other cases that you'll see him doing that review, and you're going to see more cases like this probably revisited for further investigation, as well as in line with all of the declassification of documents and other information that's just now coming to light. I think you're going to see a few more of these type of cases.
Yeah. And we've had this pattern of really high-profile people who clearly had classified information with no punishment. Hillary Clinton on her email server, Joe Biden in his car garage by the Corvette, James Comey, his own inner circle telling federal authorities and prosecutors that this week we learned that he authorized the leak of classified information allegedly to reporters, and no one gets punished. If we don't start punishing, is there a risk that everyone will feel empowered to just leak because there's no consequence for it?
Well, there hasn't been any consequence for some time. The only people you see being punished are low-level line staff type of people for security violations when it comes to classification and classified document mishandling. So until we start seeing some of the more senior people who should know better and should understand the impact of harm to the nation for some of these classification issues, it's going to continue. And I think it's been a long time practice that has to be brought to heel by the current administration and show people that, it's no longer acceptable to maintain or retain classified information in an unauthorized manner, nor is it possible to leak this information without some sort of consequence.
Yeah.
There were some household names that emerged from Crossfire Hurricane. We all became familiar with the relationship between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. And one of Peter Strzok's former FBI colleagues has come out defending him, defending the agency under Christopher Wray. And I think the word he used was Nazis and KGB. He is comparing the leadership and the operation of the agency to those types of entities and ideologies. Are you seeing anything that would warrant that type of rhetoric?
No, actually, I think that's some pretty strong language, as the KGB was our sworn enemy at one point, and we all know the place in history that the Nazi regime held. I think what you're seeing, though, is one of the Bureau's areas of weakness and downfall that emerged over the years was that FBI personnel have lost the ability to keep their personal feelings under control and to maintain a certain stoic, professional image that the FBI was once known for. And it was one of the problems that you saw during even that Crossfire Hurricane investigation, where people substituted their own personal feelings and ideologies for FBI mission parameters and FBI practices and procedures. So you could see that's where the FBI grew weak over time, and under previous leadership, that type of behavior was actually condoned.
Yeah. That's amazing. We should clip what you just said and send it to every FBI recruit so that they, what you just said, just hit it on the head. This is brilliant. So I want to ask a little bit about some of the things we see in the documents we broke the last couple of weeks. The IRS had a predicated investigation of tax violations by the Clinton Foundation, and the leadership came back and said, we don't have resources to look at a nonprofit. It's a $13 billion agency. The FBI wanted to look at these private emails where they thought the transmission of classified information between Comey and his assistants that would then go to the media, and the U.S. Attorney said, you don't need to look at those. They shut them down. That doesn't seem like normal answers. And all the time you were working, did you get a lot of weird answers when you went to go get normal evidence in a case?
Well, I think what you're seeing there is people navigating a political minefield and not necessarily looking at the proper investigative procedure and administration of justice. And that's where I think the FBI ran off track over time, was it started trying to navigate politics more than be that professional, objective, apolitical, investigative organization that it was always known to be. And I'm hoping that under the current administration, the FBI will return to that position, and that you won't see those type of answers, or you won't see those type of answers accepted by the FBI in the future.
Yeah. A few days ago, DNI Gabbard announced a significant downsizing to that agency. And I think that the general sentiment around this town, especially with this administration here, is that a lot of agencies could benefit from some trimming of fat. Is the FBI the same way?
Yeah, all organizations have a little bit of extra fat, as so to speak. I think you could see at the FBI there are programs that could be streamlined. There are some that could be combined, and there are some organizations inside the bureau that could actually be discontinued. They probably outlived their worthwhileness, and I think some cottage industries tend to sprout up over time. That I think as Director Patel moves further into his tenure, he'll identify them. And I think that, with the mindset of streamlining, efficiency, and bringing more investigative resource to bear, some of those organizations will find their demise, kind of like the DNI is doing right now.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to spread. It'll be contagious before long. Chris, you left the FBI in such high esteem. I know this because you come on your show and a couple of days later, I bump an FBI. Oh, I love Chris. I'm glad you had him on. What is the sentiment of FBI agents retired and is still in the job about what's going on, the FBI they're in today versus the one they were in a year or two ago?
I think you have some mixed feelings, John. I think you're seeing some folks that are they're just kind of concerned by some of the changes that are being made. And it's a lot of change in a short period of time, right? And then you see a lot of the folks that are very much behind the tempo and the change that has been made. And also there's a population of people that don't think enough change has happened fast enough. So I think it depends on what camp you find yourself in. And we're at about the 6-month point for Mr. Patel's tenure as the FBI director. So I think we still have to give him a little bit of time to shape things up, form up his strategy moving forward, especially with his leadership team. I know that he's anticipating another addition to his leadership team in the near future. So that's going to create a new dynamic for him to manage. But I think you'll see a lot of the agents out there that are unhappy with what's going on. They have their personal reasons. I'd like to see FBI change and FBI reform and reset. But I think some folks want it to go back to what it used to be. And I think those times are gone. I think what we can go back to is the FBI ethos and not necessarily the FBI organization of old.
Sure.
That's a great idea.
Chris, thank you so much. Chris Biota, retired FBI Executive Assistant Director and the author of the book, Wanted, the FBI I Once Knew. Chris, I hope the FBI you once knew becomes the FBI that we all get to know again. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. All right, everybody, we're going to take a very quick break and we'll be right back on the other side.
Hey folks, if you're a homeowner like me, you need to listen to this. In today's AI and cyber world, scammers are stealing home titles and your equity is their target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp, pay a small fee with your county, and boom, just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. And that's when the problems begin, because they start taking out loans using your equity and even sell your property. And you're not even going to find out it's happened until you get a collection or foreclosure notice months later. That's a nightmare, right? So when's the last time you checked on your home title? Well, if you're like me, the answer is never, right? You need to do something about that right now. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code JTN at HomeTitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any changes that might happen, and if fraud does happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. That's a good deal. Find out why I trust Home Title Lock. Go to HomeTitleLock.com and use the promo code JTN. That's HomeTitleLock.com, promo code JTN.